And
That's
yeah,
just something new. So what's
Yes, we're
going
just gonna keep
on?
it.
we're just gonna keep going. So today, so let me ask a question here. Forgiveness. I think
Mm,
we kind of touched on this subject in another episode, but I want to really
we
unpack
did.
it. Forgiveness. Forgiveness is defined as the conscious decision to release resentment or vengeance towards someone who has wronged you. So don't answer. Don't answer. I'm just going to ask the question. There's somebody you need to forgive today. Is there
Ah,
you need to forgive today? So, with that being said, we're talking about forgiveness today. The path to freedom. The path to freedom. So, what we're going to do, dig into briefly today, is about forgiveness and what's the point? Why must I forgive? Who is forgiveness for? Why is forgiveness important? Does it affect my health? So on and so forth. So, Miss Marcy of Marcy Moments is here with me. Miss Clivia of hashtag Her Chosen Story, she's here as well. We all are here to talk about forgiveness today. We all can be found on social. Make sure you check us out, follow what we're doing, support us in what we are doing. So, the question was, is there anyone that you should forgive? So I'm going to start out by saying I'm not sure. And the reason why I say I'm not sure because I believe I've made my amends with everyone living and deceased. I believe. But you know how it comes up later on like, oh, no, I don't think I did forgive that person or I didn't forgive. I believe I have. Because that's very important to me not to carry that around in my body because ain't nobody trying to do that. I'm not trying to do that to carry it around my body, my spirit to block me from other things I want to do because I'm distracted on whatever you did or didn't do or how you did or how you said or whatever. So I believe I have. I believe I have. I work very intentionally about forgiving people and to forgive easily. That's another thing I'm working on to forgive easily without condition, without, well,
mm,
if they do this, if they do that, or I need to talk to them first before I forgive them. Mm-mm, mm-mm. Just forgiving them. Whatever it is that I believe they did, and the reason why I say I believe, because there's my side, there's their side, and there's the truth, right? That's my perspective of what I believe they did. Because literally, you can see something so the wrong way, even if you are right there when it's happening, because how you see things are impacted by your previous experiences.
yeah,
So, have I forgiven them for what I believe happened? I believe I have. I think so. Ladies?
that's good. To answer your question, I think I owe myself an apology for all the things I let slide. Um, I actually shared with this young lady, she called me the other day to pray, and then she shared some personal things. And I had to ask her, did you forgive yourself?
Mm,
And she said, oh, no, because I didn't think I was to blame. But I said, I'm pretty sure you blamed yourself for what happened. She said, I did. And I said, forgive yourself. So I'm learning also things that we talked about intuition, our self-conscious is like, okay, this happened, I'm forgiving them, but what about me?
yeah.
Because that forgiveness to lift that burden has to
Hmm.
start with ourselves first. So I think I owe myself an apology.
Yeah. I like that. I agree with that. I'll add myself to the list because there are many things I have not forgiven myself for. Yeah.
Hmm.
Go ahead, Miss Marcy.
I definitely like forgiving myself, forgiving self. So when I read what the what the topic was going to be, it literally was after I heard some very disturbing news about someone who has been slandering my name
Mm.
in the workplace. And I had to listen to some things that they took to a high level. And after that, I read this forgiveness. So let me be transparent. I wanted to bust her in her face.
Speak your truth, girl. Speak your truth.
Okay. But when I read forgiveness,
Yeah.
and I know I've told my girlfriend's story, Tyrese, when she forgave the person who killed her daughter, and to be around her and to see her live that life, like this person killed your daughter. She said, and she says, forgive forgiving the person who killed my daughter was the most selfish thing I have ever done in my life. She said,
Yeah.
people will be like, I don't know if I could do it. You know, you're so noble. She was like, no, 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 no. It's the most selfish thing that she has ever done in her life, because
Hmm.
of the simple fact, the way she breaks it down is, he took her life. He will not take mine.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
sitting in that unforgiveness. Um,
That's
That's
powerful.
so,
good.
but
Yeah.
Powerful.
very powerful. But I know that I just wanted to punch her in her face. We're gonna go back to me. I wanted to punch her in her face. But when I read this and I read the notes,
It was
um,
a reminder.
I had to remind. But also, uh, our last show, how the Holy Spirit and the ancestors, how they guide us. Um, all these emotions are going on at one time,
Hmm.
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
it's okay to be like, "What? Ooh, I feel happy. I feel sad. I know it's going to work out, but I still want to punch her in her face."
Yeah.
Okay, we got all of those emotions, um, and that's what I had. I had emotion like, yeah,
Mm.
I'm a find her after work. After work, I'm gonna find her. But then I heard the ancestors say,
Not so much, huh?
"Give this over to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Give
Yeah.
this to us. This belongs to us."
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when you give it to us, you can't give it. You can't give it to the ancestors begrudgingly. So right then in that moment, I had to take my disdain for her out
Hmm.
and go to the ancestors and say, "Here, this is my problem." But I couldn't go to them with a what's kind of hard, a I don't know the word I want right now, but I had to forgive her in order to go to the ancestors to tell them, take care of her.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
of course, I'm not going to tell them to do nothing that I wouldn't want done to me, but I had to give it over. But I had to take the sting of what
Hmm.
she did and said to
Yeah.
me. I had to take that sting out and talk to my ancestors like I had some sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And reading those meeting notes, it was like I was here. I was here. Then they brought me down.
So, with that being said, I have some tips I want to share, but let me say this, that we've all heard it, that forgiveness is for us, not the other person. And to hear you say that um,
Tyrese.
Tyrese forgave, it was a selfish act, not a selfless act. I was like, oh, no, I think Marcy means selfless. No, you meant selfish
Fish.
because she did it for herself.
Hmm.
She did it for herself. So having a mindset of this is for me, not for the other person. I'm not holding anything over their head. I'm not trying to punish them. I'm not any of those things. I need to release me. If we think about that more than anything else, I think we would be motivated more to forgive because it is about you. Now, if you're doing it for the other person, you might want to step back and reassess that because forgiveness is not for the other person. It is so for you. So that thought is gone. I don't know what I was going to say. So with that, we get ready to go to our tips. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I'm getting ready to go to tips, but let me say this. So if you're struggling with that, we're going to have some information in the show notes for you to go back and review. If you're struggling with that, one, I ask that you, if you're one for prayer, pray about that. Pray about that for clarity of understanding what forgiveness is. It is not for the other person, it's for you. And if
Yeah.
you're in a situation where you're like, no, I'm not forgiving them, listen to those words. Because just to say that I'm not forgiving them when I know it's for me, you're denying yourself peace. You're
Yeah.
denying yourself healing. You're denying yourself joy. So
Yeah.
I wanted to say that. We're going to get to these tips, y'all, on about forgiveness. So first step, forgiveness as the first step, the importance of forgiving yourself. Make that your first step. Understand that forgiveness is the first step for your healing in whatever that situation was.
Yeah.
And our next one, the inner critic. Lord have mercy. I'm not forgiving them. I might look like a fool if everybody know I didn't forgive them. See, that's what happens when you worry about what other people think.
Yeah.
Don't worry about what other people are thinking. There are 6 steps to forgiveness that we're going to share,
Mm-hmm.
and they are: acknowledge the hurt,
Mm-hmm.
acknowledge it, release the need for revenge,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna smack them.
right?
That's a hard one. Yeah.
It
Choose
is.
to
And
forgive.
choose to forgive. That's another one that's tough. You got to choose to forgive.
Yeah.
Understand the impact if you don't forgive or if you do forgive. How's that going to impact you? Because it is a selfish act. I love that.
Yes.
To forgive.
Yeah.
Embrace compassion and empathy.
Just.
What were they going through when that
Mm.
happened? Let go and move forward. Because listen, how many people don't even know you still mad at them?
Right.
They've moved on. They've moved on. The freedom of letting go. Acknowledge that. There's so much freedom in it because when you can say, oh, okay, well, whatever, it's done. There's so much power in that. So,
Mm-hmm.
with that being said, everybody, thank you so much for being here. This is a short episode for us today. I think this is a record.
Yes.
So, but thank you for joining us. Thank you, Miss Marcy. Thank you, Miss Clivia, for adding your feedback. And everyone, remember, above everything, on top of the forgiveness subject, you are your first priority. Make sure you act like it. Peace and blessings, everybody.
Our
We ain't doing
affirmations.
affirmations.
Thank you guys for your patience with me having to get out the door. I did not realize the time on that second